Hi, and welcome back to the Modern Hippie Girl podcast. I am super excited for today's episode. I did a poll to see exactly what you guys wanted to hear about first, and you guys chose this topic, so we're going to talk about it. You guys asked to hear more about how you can nourish your children for balanced emotions. This is huge. This is really, really important. You guys know I talk about Dr. Mark Hyman all the time, but he just put out a recent study that had been done on kids that were in juvenile detention, and they actually changed their food to see if it would affect their mood. The numbers were staggering. So just by taking out gluten, dairy, sugar, processed food, and dyes, within 2 weeks of them changing their diet, they saw improvement in mood, less violence, and they were more emotionally regulated. In just 2 weeks, that's crazy, right? So it just goes to show you how much our food affects our mood. It's not going to be any surprise that when we're putting things in our bodies that are going to affect our gut health, like gluten, dairy, sugar, processed food, and dyes, it is going to affect our mood. I talked about this in the gut health episode, and I think you guys have heard this over and over and over again, but your happy hormones are made in your gut. When we do things to nourish our gut flora, we are going to have a calmer state of mind. So I know it sucks to think that you need to feed your children proper meals and no longer have convenient packaged meals, but this is going to be the game changer. So just like we talked about in my nutrition episode, we talk about how much the way that you nourish your body affects everything. Same thing goes for kids. One of the biggest things that you can do to help your children have emotional balance is to not feed them sugar in the morning. When you give them a high sugary, carby meal, it is going to raise their blood sugar. It's going to affect their nervous system, and you're going to see hyperactivity. So having them have a nourishing meal with protein, fiber, good fats is going to be key for keeping them in a good emotional state all day long. If you guys have ever had a big carby meal, you know that you feel really tired after, right? And then later on in the day, you're reaching for a coffee or an energy drink. This has to do with how much sugar and carbs we're eating. Same thing goes for kids. So if you can do a meal with protein, fiber, and good fats, it is going to be a game changer for your kid's mood. The thing that I think most people are confused about is, well, if my child is so young and they haven't lived a life of, 30, 40 years and had all these different things that have happened to them over the years that could, wear their body down, how is it already having an effect on them so young? Well, first of all, your kids they're like half our size, right? So they're taking on more than we are when they're eating the same sugary, carby things that we are. It's affecting them so much more. This is why we are seeing such a huge increase in type 2 diabetes in children, cancer in children, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This all is stemming from how much processed food that we are eating, how much sugar we are eating. And like I said in my blood sugar episode, when you are eating carbs, carbs are turning into sugar in your body. So you might say, oh, well, I don't really give my kids sugar. But if you're giving them bread and tortillas and pasta and, things like that, that is all turning into sugar in their body. So when they're eating, cereal and waffles and pancakes, oatmeal, even oatmeal in the morning, it is going to spike their blood sugar and they are just going to be a roller coaster of emotions for the rest of the day. One of the key things that you need to keep thinking about when you're making food for your child is they should be eating how I'm supposed to be eating. We should not be eating processed food. We should not be eating things out of a package. Always remember, if it didn't come from the ground or eat from the ground, it's not nourishing my body properly. Making real food for your kids and choosing the cleaner option at the store is going to be so helpful. There's also a lot of different supplements that you can take that are going to be really, really helpful for your kids. Well, not you take, your kids take. Magnesium is one of them. Magnesium glycate is the magnesium source that helps calm your body. So this is great to take before bed. And this is going to help your children to have more of a calm sense of being. Vitamin B is going to be a big one. It helps our bodies adapt to stress. It's not an adaptogen, but it really helps support stress, because when we are stressed out, our body gets depleted of magnesium and B vitamins. So we need to be replenishing them, because kids are in a stressful environment all day at school, and they are having, more and more testing and more homework than ever before. So they are literally wreaking havoc on their nervous system constantly. So we need to be supporting their nervous system, and we'll talk about stress management for kids in a second. Magnesium, B vitamins, omega 3s are going to be huge. When our brain is hungry, it thrives on good fats. This is essential for our brain to be functioning optimally. So giving your children omega 3s is going to be so great for them to concentrate at school, to be able to deal with situations that might be stressful for them in a calmer manner, and to help them be able to retain more information, right? These are some key additional supplements that you can be giving to your children every day. I put a lot, my kid, well, one of my kids, both of them used to drink protein shakes all the time, but my oldest son has ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, and he no longer will drink protein shakes because he got sick one night, and then he thought like that was from that, and then he never drank them again. Anyways, point being, I put all of these things in my son's protein shake every single day, because it's a way for me to give it to him without having to make him take a bunch of supplements, and he doesn't even know that he's getting them, right? A multivitamin's always going to be super beneficial, making sure that it has folate and not folic acid in it. I've talked about the MTHFR gene, but it has skyrocketed, and about 70% of people have the MTHFR gene now. So if you are taking folic acid in your multivitamin, you need to switch ASAP and get on folate instead. It'll be a game changer for your body. You cannot be taking folic acid if you have the MTHFR gene. You shouldn't probably be taking folic acid anyways, especially if you're pregnant. Make sure your prenatal vitamin has folate and not folic acid. Other things that are really, really helpful is prebiotic foods. I talked about this in my gut health episode, but there's probiotic foods, which I'm sure most of us have heard of probiotics, but there's foods that are rich in probiotics, and then there's foods that are rich in prebiotics. When our gut microbiome is wanting to eat something, it wants to process the food that we are eating, it wants prebiotic foods to be able to do its job better. So prebiotic foods are things like kefir, yogurt, sauerkraut. Prebiotic foods are going to be a game changer. Your stomach will thank you for them. If you can give your kids a yogurt that's not high in sugar, that is clean, like Kite Hill, really, really great for their gut flora, which is going to help their body be more calm. And just like we discussed in the gut health episode, the more that you can repair your gut, the more that you are going to send the right signals to your brain, to our hormones, right? We need our cortisol levels to be balanced in order to keep calm and to adjust to situations as they arise. So the more that we can feed our gut flora and have more good gut bacteria and less bad gut bacteria, the better it's going to be for their mood, for their ability to bounce back from stressful situations, and to be able to, it's not even just about emotions, it's about retaining information when they're at school, right? Or retaining information when they're learning anything. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm feeling sluggish, if I feel like my stomach hurts, if I feel tired for whatever reason, I am not retaining the majority of the stuff that's going on around me because I just don't have the energy and the bandwidth to do so. Kids are the same way. If we can support their gut health and we can nourish their bodies properly, they will thrive when they are learning stuff. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? The Modern Hippie Girl Reset is a 3-phase holistic wellness program designed to help women reconnect with their bodies and create real, lasting health from the inside out. In this program, you'll get precise meal plans, hormone and gut healing protocols, stress management tools, blood sugar balancing tips, and an extensive holistic health education to help you keep your results for life. Plus, there's optional personalized coaching to support you every step of the way. If you've been feeling off, overwhelmed, or stuck, this is how we'll get back to feeling like your best self again. Check out all of our programs at modernhippiegirlwellness.com. Other things that we can do is give our children coping skills and the ability to really be able to handle stressful situations. So I am a true and through believer in teaching your kids how to do breath work. My son is he's going to be 6 years old in a couple weeks, and we have been doing breath work for years. He knows how to do breath work. He literally will do it on his own when he has stressful situations happening. If we can teach our children how to do breath work to calm their nervous system at an early age, it is just going to make them a stronger, healthier, more balanced adult because they are able to cope with stressful situations better. And we're not going to see the situations that we see now in adults where their cortisol levels are through the roof because they don't know how to emotionally handle stressful situations. And now their hormones are out of whack because their cortisol levels are so high and their stress is so high and they're chronically in fight or flight mode. If we can teach our children these key things from the beginning, it is just going to help them just be a much more calmer, more balanced adult. And I think that we see that a lot in children right now. Children are super hyperactive. They're super emotional, more than we've ever seen before. You're seeing kids go through puberty earlier than they ever before. All of this is stemming from the food that we're putting in our bodies and the products we're putting on our skin. Really, really taking a look at their diet is going to be key in order for you to be able to see real emotional change. And all of these things are also going to help them sleep better. And just like we talked about in the sleep episode, when your body's not getting deep REM sleep, you're really just not functioning on all cylinders the next day. So for your child to be able to get good deep REM sleep, they need to be nourishing their bodies properly every day. So many parents are like having their kids live off of melatonin. And the more melatonin that we take as humans, the less our body produces melatonin. And so then your circadian rhythm is just all messed up. And, you see it all the time where you just can't sleep properly and you are somebody who has insomnia, or you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep or waking up in the middle of the night. I mean, we need melatonin. It's literally the thing that helps our body be able to react to stress properly. So this is why I said, get out into the sun, make sure you're getting vitamin D, because vitamin D is going to help your body react to stress. And this is another thing that you're going to need in order to be a calmer human being, right? Yeah, it sucks to think about the fact that, we need to be literally cutting out gluten, dairy, sugar, processed food, and all dyes in order to properly nourish our children. But think about the way that our ancestors ate 100 years ago. They weren't eating packaged foods. Everything was made from scratch. Everything. Think about the Amish, right? They are not going to the stores and buying packaged foods. They are making everything themselves, and they have the lowest health concerns of any other culture out there. And that has a lot to do with how they are nourishing their bodies. So we as parents have an obligation to teach our children how to properly nourish their bodies. And if you don't know how to do so, reach out. I will help you. This is what I love doing. I love helping moms learn skills, because I know, and we know, that when women learn new things, they don't just keep it to themselves. They help their family, they help their friends, they share it. That's just who we are as a culture. Like, women love to help other people. We do not like to keep things to ourselves. We want to make change. So if you can teach your kids how to properly nourish their bodies now, it's just going to be generational change, right? They're going to teach their kids how to properly nourish their bodies, and then their kids. And now you're changing things where we think that, oh, it's just genetic. That's why I have, this that runs through my family. No, it's because we're literally eating and nourishing our bodies the same way that we were taught when we were younger, and they were taught when they were younger. We have to break the cycle. We have to be the one who makes the change, not only for them, but for ourselves, right? Because then we are firing on all cylinders. We are in a place where we can handle stressful situations, and we can be a better parent. We can be more focused. We can be better at our career. We could be better at whatever it is that we are trying to focus on, because we're doing all the right things for ourselves, right? Another thing that I was going to talk about was the benefit of making sure that you eat your meals as a family. If you have not listened to my episode where I was talking about centennials and how they did a study on why certain cultures were seeing people that were living over 100 years to over 100 years old, it wasn't food, it wasn't exercise, it wasn't a certain geographic area. It was literally connection. It was literally because these cultures do things together all the time. Eat all their meals together, get together every single day to, talk, to connect, everything. So the more that you can have all of your meals as a family, the more that your child feels that connection, and the more that they thrive. And for men, especially having sons, the more that the dad has a connection to the son, the stronger your son is as a man. They did a lot of studies on sons, like kids that were boys that had a big connection with their mother and a big connection with their dad. And the child, not that you can't have a good connection with your child if you're, the mom. I'm just saying, the stronger the connection is between the dad and the son, the stronger your child is, and the more that he will thrive. They need that connection to their father in order to feel a sense of pride and to be more successful in life. So the more that you can nourish that relationship, the better. And eating meals is just one way of doing that. I wanted to bring that up because I think that is worth mentioning. I can't express enough how much just really making sure that your kids are eating real foods and not foods that are coming out of a package, choosing the cleaner swap at the stores, and really teaching them coping skills on how to regulate their nervous system is just going to go so far. And if you, like I said, if you don't know how to do these things, like, reach out. I will help you. I, teach this to my clients every single day. And I thought that one day that I would start doing like a family program where I was teaching children how to properly eat and nourish their bodies too. And as my children get older, I feel like that day is coming sooner than I thought. So you guys can do it too. You guys can learn as much as you can now and teach it to them now so that you guys can see the benefits in the long run and know that when you're sending your kids off to school, that they are getting the most bang for their buck, right? I think that was everything that I wanted to touch on today. I do have a kid-friendly meal plan. I have a kid-friendly resource guide for healthy snacks that you can pack for your kids' lunches. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of different stuff on my social media about things that you can do for your children to help them be more emotionally balanced. So, no surprise, it's food. Okay, I think that's it. Hopefully that helped. And if you thought about somebody when you're listening to this episode, please send it to them, and please like and subscribe to my podcast and my YouTube channel, and follow me on social media. I love doing this podcast. It's so much fun. We are almost done with season 1. It's crazy, but it's been a blast. So anyways, I think that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.